What is up, mon amis? You are watching Find Your Weird. I'm Patrick Galactic, and I am back, baby. I am back. It is Tuesday night. It is 10 p.m. on the West Coast, on the left coast, on the best coast. Whatever, I don't know. We got Dartone, the savior of the Waniverse, in the chat with us so far tonight. Good to be with you, my friend and me. Yeah, what's up? What's new? Dartone said that he got in trouble for fighting a middle schooler again, but in Dartone's defense, he said his raps were better. So apparently, Dartone got into a rap battle with a kid, and it led to violence, which I'd love to say I'm surprised, but frankly, I'm not. First things first, I am so fucking tired. I am exhausted. I am really tired, friends. And that will be a theme tonight. So if I'm not blah, 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 my usual blah, blah, blah self, that is why. It's because I'm very tired. But I'm very happy to be here, as I always am, in the ethereal digitalisms, here to connect with you because it's Find Your Weird, baby. And the real stars of this show are you. The most important part of Find Your Weird is the community. You can ask me whatever you want. I'm here to hang. I always have stuff for us to watch and talk about, but this can really just go anywhere. We can look stuff up together. We can let the chat guide the flow, which we always do. There's no script here on Find Your Weird. If you got a topic you've always wanted to know more about, but you're just too lazy to look it up yourself, do you want me to do it? I will do it. At me in the chat. Give me something to look into that wouldn't get us suspended. I think by now I have a pretty good idea of what will and won't get us suspended. So if I just say no, that's why. But I have yet to say no. Even though just say no. Interesting. Crossover. Overlap. Very interesting to me. Probably not to you. But yeah, I gotta tell you, Better Kitty Meow's daughter is 6 years old. And it is really true what they tell you about kids wearing you the fuck out. They have so much goddamn energy. They are unbelievable. Like, you spend the entire day running around, chasing them, playing Tickle Monster, whatever game they want to play, and you play it with them. And I'm like sweating, breathing hard, looking completely like I'm about to collapse. And yet, then she's like, okay, so let's play another game. And I can barely keep up. I'm watching Better Kitty Meow go from place to place to place to place to place. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe that people with children have to do that every single day. Every single day. And I got to get my conditioning up. I've got to start exercising just so I have enough energy to keep up with this kid. It's unbelievable. But it's super fun and very, very worth it. Very, very worth it. So one holiday I really haven't cared about in at least like 30 years is Easter. I just can't subscribe to the idea that a chocolate egg-bearing bunny was crucified for essentially proclaiming itself the child of the Cadbury gods, only to be resurrected 3 days later before disappearing into a field, starting up a candy factory and giving away golden tickets before essentially baiting children into their own worst desires before finally awarding the chocolate factory to a poor kid named Charlie. Seems far-fetched, you know? Well, this past weekend, I actually had the best Easter of my life. Okay? Better Kitty Meow and me watched the kiddo do like 3 different Easter egg hunts. It was both hilarious and heartwarming. I had this same experience with Christmas this past year. I don't really care about holidays as they relate to me that much anymore at all. Like, I just, if it's just me, I'm just going to show up, hang out, bullshit, probably talk about, stupid shit like music or what kind of phone somebody has or politics. That's a real fun one. So I don't really give a shit. I just show up and I'm like, all right, I'm here. Like, what are we doing? And then, maybe we eat food or something and then I leave. But with the kid, when it's cool to see my peeps and everything. And it's cool to buy and receive, etc. But seeing the holidays through the eyes of a true believer is totally different and so fun. And the shit people say about keeping up with kids, it really does turn out to be completely true. They have so much energy and they never want to slow down. And it's a holiday based entirely around sugar, giving sugar to children. That should seriously be reconsidered. Good God. Dartone follows up that after their brawl, after their rap battle with a middle schooler, that middle schoolers suck at fighting, but kids suck at drawing dogs. Sometimes they can't even get the number of legs right. Dartone, there's a reason that you are not a teacher. There's a reason that you are not a teacher. But maybe we can learn something from somebody else, somebody who's actually wise. And this time it's Mark Twain, American icon and 19th and 20th century writer extraordinaire Mark Twain. It's a very simple one. Worrying is like paying a debt you don't owe. Worrying is like paying a debt you don't even owe. It's very true, folks. It's very true. I am definitely prone to worry. I am a worst case scenario thinker. I always have been. And I think there's this idea that if you prepare for the worst, that somehow you'll be prepared if it happens. And if in the very likely event that the worst doesn't happen, then you're like, I can handle this, right? But it's not true. It's not true, because if the worst happens, you're not going to be prepared anyway. You're still not going to be prepared. It's still going to suck. There's going to be all kinds of dimensions to it that you can't even fathom. Okay? So something I've really been working on this year is to worry less, because it takes up so much of my mental real estate, my emotional real estate. It lives rent-free in my head. And as you can see, I have a large head, but it's already full of a lot of other shit. It's already full of statistics like what Babe Ruth hit in 1932, or the year Gaddafi took power in Libya. There's lots. There's lots. Sexual Corn says limits of imagination versus plausibility of a bad event. Limits of imagination and plausibility of a bad event. Yes, it does cause one to worry, but in the end, chances are we will be no more prepared if the worst were to happen than we were if we were just to wait and see what actually happens. What actually happens, it's a place I'm trying to live a little more, is live in the world that is actually real, because when otherwise you're here, Sexual Corn says, meaning it's prudent to prepare, but pragmatism is important. It really is. It really is, because oftentimes the worst thing that could happen is not going to happen. But I don't want to get too far out in the weeds here, folks. I don't want to get too far out in the weeds. It's smart to consider your possibilities, but the belief that the worst thing is always going to happen is in itself not rational and not pragmatic. So, it's good to think things through, but not live there. Not live there. You still have to live in this moment right now. That's how, that's kind of how I found I slow time down for myself a little bit by trying to be in the moment as much as I possibly can. Because we all say time goes so fast. Well, in my case, when I say that, it's because I've been thinking about a million things. I've been spaced out, worrying about stuff or tripping on something from the past. And honestly, when I am able to keep myself in the present moment, things slow down a little bit. Each day becomes a little more notable for the events that happened during that day. I can remember them a little bit better. And things don't seem to be just this roller coaster just speeding past me as I slowly crawl towards death. Death, I tell you. Death, I tell you. But let's not get stuck on death. Let's not get stuck on death. What I am stuck on is that this Saturday we have a very star-studded episode of Weird at Night. This was supposed to happen last Saturday, but there were some huge and quite honestly tragic circumstances beyond anyone's control that pushed things back just a little bit. But this weekend, this Saturday, we have a monumental animated conclusion to the Barefoot Messiah story that you're not going to believe. You're not going to believe it. Holy shitballs, mon amis, this is going to be magnificent. I'm so proud of Blazing Space for the love and dedication given to these stories. The Waniverse will be forever changed, that much I can tell you. A huge cast of characters. The Barefoot Messiah's plan and fate will finally be known. And Steve Germany will hopefully finally come back from the months-long flashback he's been stuck in. It's been pretty intense. Pretty intense. But yeah, last I saw Steve Germany, he was talking in the past to Mandolin Rivage about Utopion and using Utopion to go somewhere. And we know Utopian in the present has been stolen by the Barefoot Messiah. It's a lot. It's a lot to explain. It's a lot to explain. But speaking of Weird at Night, I said on this Saturday's edition of Weird at Night that April 29th is a Saturday this year, and that is the official 3-year anniversary of our channel and Weird at Night. We're going to have an epic party to celebrate. I really hope you'll tune in. But also, I want to ask you, do you want to be part of it? Do you have an idea for something I could do? Do you want to say something on camera and have it on the show? Hit me up. My email, I'm just going to drop it in the chat right now and maybe get flagged as a bot. That's always a fun experience. Why not? Hit me up, weirdandnight@gmail.com. Give me an idea. Let me know something you want to do. Do you want to just record a video saying, hey, I watch Weird at Night. I'm, insert your name. I watch Weird at Night. You can do that. We'll put it on the show. Whatever. Let me know. It's wild. We have made 241 episodes of Weird at Night. This is our 20th episode of Find Your Weird. And we just keep moving. I look at our YouTube archives and have totally forgotten so many bits and little pieces of things we've made since 2020. I'm really honored to be doing this with you all and so grateful that you tune in to be part of it. Truly, I am so grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Now, one thing that has been kind of persistent in the Waniverse lately is this plan that Dartone has. Dartone has a plan, and that always scares me because all of Dartone's plans so far in the Waniverse have led to some kind of lasting change that can never be taken back. And it always involves elevating Dartone to some kind of notoriety and status that, given the choice, I would prefer he didn't have. I mean, I ended up believing in Dartone at one point. I mean, check this out.
Are you alone? Do you feel ignored, unseen, unheard, misunderstood? Well, you don't have to, because Dartone III, the savior of the Waniverse, is always watching. That's right! Dartone III, once heckled and hated for being a cult leader, proved himself to be the savior we didn't even know we needed, and protected the entire Waniverse from the tyranny of Alex F&V and a radioactive burrito. And now, that Dartonism is the official religion of Weird at Night. It's the exact right time to join. Here's a few words from our most recent members.
Oh, that's right. Dartone's a real piece of work, baby, just like Alan Dan. Lives above the truth, lives above the lie, just like Alan Dan. This dude told us to be cool and we didn't get killed by no radioactive burrito or no dumb shit like that. So Alan Dan's all good with Dartonism, baby. Making Alan Dan want to be a better person, baby. I'm all good with Dartonism. Thank you, Dartone. Let's steal some shit, baby. Oh,
I once was weary of Dartone's sexual advances towards me. He often says things like, I want to get to the root of you, bad. But in light of the happenings at Final Flush Wasteum 69, I feel loved and protected by Dartone. Still a little creepy, but he watches Helen Hunt films with me whenever I ask. Thank you, Dartone.
I really hate this piece of shit. Like, with my whole heart. There's few people in the world I respect less than Dartone. I'm just going along with this bullshit so I can get close enough to him to squeeze the life out of him. Thank you, Dartone.
Dartone's just my kind of fucking guy. No showers, no shoes, no bullshit. He has no manners. He has no clue. He doesn't give a shit, and everyone loves him for it. Basically, Dartone is living my dream every day of his life. And he saved us. Thanks, Dartone.
I ain't ever been one for deities and shit. I always thought the badassery that lived in the rattlesnake's cannons would be enough for any fight. But I was wrong. We looked like fucking goners when Alex F&V had that precious radioactive burrito above her head. But Dartone said, and shut that bullshit down faster than a stone cold stunner. Thank you, Dartone. And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
See? You don't have to be alone. Dartonism is here for you, and so are we. So what are you waiting for? Jump in. The water's warm. Mostly because Dartone peed in it, but it's very comfortable once you let that part go. It's Dartonism. and it's never going anywhere, ever.
Well, Dartonism did go somewhere. We eventually realized that Dartone knowingly defrauded all of us by taking credit for the work of the Spectacle Bear. But that's a story for our YouTube archives, which I highly encourage you to check out. Go check out our YouTube archives. I am dropping a link to that right now. There you go. So you can see why I get a little nervous when Dartone has big plans. And his big plan is taking place this Saturday. So I got my first question for everybody tonight. Got us kind of a chill crew with us tonight. So let's get lots of chat. That'd be a lot of fun. Okay. First question. What kind of holiday would you invent if you could invent a holiday? Festivus for the rest of us, whatever. You could invent a holiday. What would it be? What would it be? I've had time to think about this. So, you know, I kind of have some pretty well laid out plans. I have 2 ideas for you. You let me know. Are they any good? While you're thinking of yours, listen to mine. So we're just talking about Easter. And it got me thinking, if I could invent a holiday, what would it be? Now that I've had time to think about this, mine is kind of involved. Oh, hey! Matty O'Shea just gifted a sub. Thank you, Matty O'Shea. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. So one idea I had was would be a holiday where everyone empties their 401k and has to spend it all in one day. It would have to be a once-in-a-decade holiday for it to have any real meaning. But it could stimulate the economy, maybe, right? Not sure what I'd call it, though. Maybe, like, money in the tank? Huh? Or possibly just Poor Decisions Day. Sexual Corn says, free medical care in the United States Day. Matty O'Shea says, Floater Day. You can take any day off and get paid in full. Wow, that sounds a lot like vacation days, Matty O'Shea, but let's make the government pay us, huh? Huh? Okay, I had one more for you. I thought of another one where every person in every city and town in the world has to hold hands all day long. And I mean for the entire 24-hour period. And it has to be in a circle. Okay, so in every city, in every country, in a circle, every citizen of that country would be holding hands all day long. And that includes when people have to go to the bathroom or eat. So like everyone is gonna see everyone else take a dump, pee, and everyone has to eat only with their face because they cannot stop holding hands under any circumstances with the people they start with. Don't you think that would bring us all together? I mean, a nice reminder that all of us have a lot in common. Shared Connections Day. I saw UP Day, huh? No one can really be stuck up or feel superior to anyone else after a day like that, am I right? I'm right. I'm definitely right. Dartone the Third says the Roman holiday. I think they had a few, but it's just wine, food, and fucking. You know, I mean, honestly, that's fair. That's fair. Dartone, and quite honestly, far less offensive than whatever I thought you might say. Matty O'Shea says people are gross. I would be inside and alone. Sexual Court says keep Saturnalia Saturnales. Wow. We're getting very Roman up in here. So we'll just jump to our next question. No big deal. What is your social security number? Go ahead. I can wait. Yeah. Just go ahead and throw that right in the chat. No problem. Well, Sexual Corn has the right idea, but says they censor it, which that feels wrong. That feels wrong. Twitch, I'm disappointed in you. I'm very disappointed in you. But one thing I'm not disappointed in is a music video that we have from a band from Seattle called Bad Optics. We showed this on Weird at Night a little while back. This track is called Turn Screws. We're about to watch it. Good shit. A lot of fun. And, I don't think there's anybody's social security number in this video, but still could be fun. That was Bad Optics from Seattle with their song Turn Screws. Freedom is contingent upon turning screws. You would think I knew how to sing by that. So a lot of people drop their social security number in the chat. Apparently I can't see it. Twitch, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. Okay? People are doing this of their own volition. I don't know why we have to go over this, but we do, apparently. We do. Messed up. Let's see. Maddie O'Shea says, I would hate an office job. Maddie, you don't have to describe what you do for a living, in perfect detail or anything, but are you out of the office? Are you active during your work? Or are you, what kind of thing is it? Like, because I can tell you for sure, I hate office jobs. That's mostly what I've done most of my life, is I've had a miserable day gig that I do so that I can be some kind of artist, lumping it the rest of the time. But I have always had shitty office jobs, and I can tell you, they are terrible. I do not like them. Dartone the Third says, that's me when I was a legal clerk. I can only imagine, Dartone. I can only imagine. Yeah, that guy in the middle, really keeping it together. Maddie O'Shea says, I work at a grocery store, unload the trucks and stock the shelves. Very cool. I had a job where I ran live sound for musicians at the airport. At the SeaTac airport, there's a company called Gigs for You that has artists come in and busk for people in the airport. And I would perform, and on the days where I wasn't performing, I would run live sound, and I would push this cart around. I did like 26,000 steps a day, because I had to set up 4 different stations every time on every shift. And it was like my wrists would hurt. It was kind of a grind, but it was the best I've ever felt at a job before. It was the best I've ever felt. Just like being in motion was awesome. So yes. So yeah, office jobs absolutely do suck. Maddie O'Shea says, that does sound cool. It was really cool. If it had paid well enough for me to do it full time, I would be doing it right now. It was a blast. That was the best job I ever had. I loved it. But then the pandemic happened, that program got shut down, and like everything came to a screeching halt, friends. Everything came to a screeching halt. Bad Optics. I like the kind of, there's kind of this post-punky Gang of Four Wire vibe to that track. And I am a huge fan of both of those projects, Gang of Four and Wire. Huge fan of both of those projects. And post-punk in general is a genre in which I feel very, very comfortable. Very, very comfortable. And it's aged surprisingly well. Okay, so I guess we're not going to see anybody's social security number. So I guess I'm going to have to think of something else to ask you all. How about this? What is one... Oh, nope, not that. What is one thing you will never do again? What is one thing you'll never do again? Well, there are many things that I have done that I will never do again. We got some answers already. Dartone the Third says, how angry do you, to Maddie O'Shea, how angry do you get when people can't read a planogram? Maddie O'Shea says, I'm Irish-Scottish. I am always pissed off. As an Irish Scot myself, Maddie O'Shea, I absolutely relate to that. As far as what we won't do again, Sexual Corn says, die. Won't do that again. Not that I've done it before. I just won't do it twice. I've heard it's bad. Fair. Maddie O'Shea says, that's a hard question. Well, let me talk about what I won't do again while you try to think of what you won't do again. How about that? So there's a lot of things that I've done that I would never do again. I once thought I would never get married again. Okay, I got married when I was 24 years old. It was absolutely stupid. Ended up living in the suburbs, working an office job, and everybody kind of talked to me like I didn't take life seriously enough. It was absolutely a terrible idea. But at the present moment, I'm actually engaged and very happy about it, so that is actually off my list. So here's something. Here's something that I will never do again after I read this from Dartone. Dartone says, other than your dad? You silly trickster, Dartone. You're a silly, silly trickster. Spicy food is the thing Dartone will not do again. You know, I used to be that guy who loved spicy food so much and wanted the whole world to know. I was like Mr. 5-star when I went out for Thai food or something like that. Mr. 5-star, okay? And then when I was in my mid-30s, I woke up one morning. This is really bad. I woke up one morning to the sound of my own farts and felt like I was exploding inside constantly for hours and hours. I was sweating. Everything was terrible. It was horrible. I felt like I was going to explode. Okay. And then, that could have just been a one-time thing, right? Right. So, next time do Thai food. Mr. 5-star tries to be 5-star all over again. Nope. Happens again. And happened every time. I had even remotely spicy food for like years. And somehow recently, I have figured out how to eat spicy food again without exploding internally. But yeah, spicy food, you can't overdo it. You can't overdo it. I once had one of the hottest peppers ever in the world. Somebody I worked with one time brought one into the office, and he asked me if I wanted to try it. I thought he was giving the pepper to me like I'm just going to eat it, right? And instead, he cut the tiniest sliver of it off and said, no, you just try this. And so I grab it. It immediately burned my finger. So that was a warning sign, okay? And then I put that thing in my mouth, and I'm talking, this is smaller than your fingernail and very thin, okay, this pepper. It burned all the way through my esophagus, all the way through my body. I was sweating. I was drinking water constantly for like 4 hours. It was absolutely horrible. I believe it was a Trinidad scorpion sexual corn. That does sound very familiar. I am not a pepper expert, but it was absolutely horrific. I do not understand how anybody can eat that for pleasure, because it almost wrecked me. Absolutely ruined me. I almost had to go home. It was that bad. I thought I liked spicy things, but that was way spicier than anything I've ever had too. Dartone the Third says, Irish here too. Lost my shit on some temp workers more times than I should. Matty O'Shea says, I will never drink vodka again. I haven't had a bottle since '08. I can drink a fifth in about 25 or 45 minutes, and Greek food. I get too much gas. Sexual Corn says, I hope you washed your hands before you took a wee. I washed my hands repeatedly before I did anything because I was literally burning alive. Like my skin was burning. It was that hot. It was absolutely terrible. Dartone the Third says, yeah, they did. Finally, someone understands. Yeah, let's just yell at temp workers. Let's celebrate that. That's a great idea. So eating something that spicy, I would never do again. That is for certain. That was not the answer I planned on giving, though. One thing I will never do again is go skydiving. Okay? I'm fairly certain about that. I did it once about 15 years ago, and it was very cool. A group of people I was with decided to honor the memory of someone close to us by going skydiving together. And this person had loved skydiving. And we decided on it like 8 months ahead of time. It was like in November. We were like in June, we're going to go skydiving, or July or something like that. And I never once even thought about it again until like 2 days before. And I realized we're really doing this shit. Like in a few days, I am dropping from thousands of feet. And all of a sudden I was absolutely terrified, Okay. When the day came, we drove to this spot in Kapowsin, Washington, which is like an hour and a half away from where I live. We take this class about how to do it, how to pack your parachute. Right. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why are we being instructed on how to pack a parachute? Isn't this a tandem jump? You're not going to let me pack this and jump. I don't trust me to do that. I wouldn't jump with a parachute I packed. And they confirmed that, yes, it is a tandem jump. So for some reason, they wanted to teach us how to do this because they thought some of us might actually do this again. No. So we're tethered to someone who knows what they're doing, right? Yeah, we get in this old ass, tiny old plane. And there's like 10 of us, and we start flying up. And we paid extra so we could jump from 13,000 feet. The standard jump was 10,000 feet, but no, we had to jump from 13,000 feet. The entire plane reeked of gas. I was really convinced we were going to die in a fiery blaze. And they asked who would go first. No one said anything. So my tandem partner just volunteered us. And honestly, I'm kind of glad, because I think if I had to watch other people do it before me, it would have been even scarier. So we have to like scoot to the edge of the plane, and I'm basically sitting in this guy's lap, okay? And I'm attached to him. So we're scooting to the edge of the plane, basically sitting in this dude's lap. It's so weird. And he says, we're gonna go on 3. And he goes 1, 2, and then he pushed us out. And all of a sudden, we're like free falling, flipping. My ears pop massively. And I'm terrified and electrified all at the same time. We are just rolling over. And this felt like it lasted 20 years. It felt like we were going to slam directly into the ground. But it was only about 30 seconds. And then he pulls the parachute. At which point things got really cool, and we very slowly and gently descended. We had a great view. Once I knew the parachute had deployed, it was a lot of fun. But I don't need that kind of thrill in my life ever again. Ever. I do not need to skydive ever again. Okay? So that is something I definitely, I could definitely do. Yeah. Sexual Corn commenting on the very hot pepper story says something like that I could see cooking into food. Raw? Nope. I don't know how it gets any better. I mean, I really don't. Maybe you cook some of the properties out of it. I don't know. But it was lethal. Dartone the Third, talking to Matty O'Shea, says a temp worker almost ran over me with a forklift. I never got licensed, but it's not that hard. Give me 30 minutes and I'll get you ready. If you have a driver's license. You know, Dartone, had that temp worker run you over, with the forklift, imagine the kind of solace I might be experiencing today. Because you wouldn't have run roughshod over the entire Weniverse. And I'm not saying that I would want you to be killed, of course. That's not what I'm saying at all. But maybe just maimed. To a point where you couldn't be so manipulative and evil the way you have been in the Waniverse. But that's just me. You know, I'm just throwing out probabilities. It's not like I would ever wish for that to happen to you. Or would I? Matty O'Shea says, if I would skydive if I was 20 something, but that was 20 years ago. Nah, I'm good. I was in my early 30s when I did it, and yeah, I definitely would not do it now. Crazy. Dartone the Third, proving my point, says, I was happy to help you through skydiving. Yes, Dartone the Third, who tells everyone he was my mentor, who tells everyone that he was my personal trainer, takes credit for basically anything I do. Dartone, only too happy to do that. Thank you very much, Dartone. Thank you for helping me skydive. I genuinely mean that. Now, here on Weird at Night and Find Your Weird, we close every episode, which we're going to do in a little bit, with an auto write. And something, we were talking about, tapping into our creative unconscious mind, right? Which can be a gag. It can be kind of something that we say for fun. The exercise itself, I think it's really hard to get completely clear when we're doing it, right? But it's a lot of fun to do. And something we were doing last year, Blazing Space and myself, was we would take people's auto writes and we put them in a little different context. And that's something we're going to be doing again, not in the way we were, but here's one that we did last year with an auto write by our friend Anarchy in Bedrock.
Look, I only agreed to talk to you because you got this great podcast or whatever you're telling me about. But look, I'm trying to keep it low. I'm in witness protection. And so just make sure you keep me private. And and blurred and all that kind of stuff you gotta do. Now look, it's true what they say. I was called Slimy Sammy. I had a sweating problem. So when I was in the mafia, people they'd say, Sammy, how you doing? They touch, shake my hand and say, oh, what you got the slimy shit on you? It's my sweat. I got weird sweat. So anyway, like you were trying to ask me about, I'll tell you the story everyone wants to know, all right? I'm in the club, and then Joey Tromboni comes over to me and says, Sammy, look. I said, what? What are you looking at me for? He says, look, I want to talk to you. I said, all right, well then talk to me. He says, look, I want you to go over to this club. I want you to see this guy. I said, what guy? He says, I'm trying to tell you. I said, all right, tell me. He says, I want you to go see this guy in Anarchy and Bedrock, all right? Now, whatever he tells you, I want you to tell me, and then I'm going to go and tell Frankie Filoni. And I'm like, you going to tell Frankie Filoni? He says, yes, I'm going to tell him, but I need you to go tell the guy. So I say, all right, I'll go do it. So I go over there, and I see Anarchy and Bedrock, and I'm telling you, to my dying day, I will never forget this. This is what this motherfucker says to me. He says, known ways of the art are the fundamentals by which all derailments must occur. And since the path has been chosen, it's our duty to divide the willing souls from the herd and buck the system once again. Are we ready to coalesce with the unity? That's what this motherfucker says to me. I mean, he had the weirdest accent in the world. I can't even believe it. But anyway, I hope that helps your podcast or whatever. Don't tell anyone where I am. I'm trying not to get killed and, shit like that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Matty O'Shea says, accent is terrible. Yes, absolutely. But we're going to do things a little differently. So we have this big animated finale, which I'm going to promote again. Yes, this big animated finale. The Tale of the Barefoot Messiah is concluding this Saturday. Okay? But going forward, a lot of our animations and their storyline developments are going to be influenced by things people put in the auto rights. That is a breaking news scoop for y'all. Okay? When you put something crazy in an auto right, it just may be part of a story that gets used later. We want to harness the creativity of the people who watch Weird at Night, make everybody a part of the show to the best of our abilities. So that is something that's coming. I'm super stoked about it. And so your Sexual Corn says, just give me a heads up if that's the case. Fair enough. We absolutely will. Matty O'Shea says, people ask me if I'm from New York City or Boston. Mine is terrible as well, man. Fair enough. Okay. Last question. Talk or text? Talk or text? I'm old, I guess. Okay? I'm out of touch. Over the hill. But I much prefer talking to people instead of texting, all right? You can accomplish so much more in like a 2-minute, 90-second, 30-second conversation than you can in like an hour of texting. I don't hate texting generally, but I prefer it mostly for like yes or no type situations. There's going to be times where it's more convenient, and there's exceptions to every rule, okay? So there's going to be times where it's like easier to text somebody something. This isn't a hard and fast rule. But I've had more misunderstandings in 20 years of texting than I've had in 43 years of just being alive. You can't hear tone. Words can seem very different when the reader has only their own, projections to go by. Just call me, okay? Just call me. We can work everything out in like a minute or two. And with autocorrect, I swear to God, I make more mistakes than I would if I never used it. I could turn it off, but that now actually scares me a little bit too. I'm a loudmouth, as you might have determined by now. I never shut up, so it's not out of the question that I could talk for an hour or 2 or 3. A lot of people don't like that nowadays. It's kind of sad for me. But yeah, I am one of those people. Dartone can tell you. I'm one of those people that can talk on the phone for an hour, 2 hours, easily. Dartone says, talk over text, texting. Texting is for addresses or times. Sexual Corn has a different take. There's a poetic sensibility about texting and a want of being precising in a text. Pause for a thought. At least for me, talking is a lot more rich in that there's posture involved. They're just different mediums with different aptnesses. Wow. Very nice sexual chord. Very nice. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think there is a purpose for both. But yeah, if I have something like really important to say, I am not going to text it to somebody because there's just too much that can get misconstrued. And you know, also the other thing is texts are on this tiny screen. And so even a little bit of writing can look like several paragraphs. Matty O'Shea says it's easier to apply emphasis on words with a voice versus text. All right. Well, fair enough, everyone. Fair enough. Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. Now, I have been telling you about this animated conclusion that we're going to be coming to on Saturday. Okay. And this past Saturday, we had a little add-on where our friend Sam Circle made a big decision. It goes a little something like this.
Circle, I'm so proud of you for making this brave step. Circle Sam sounds much better than Sam Circle, and it really suits you. Are you sure you didn't want me to invite anyone else to your party?
Babe, you are the only sentient being I want with me on this momentous day. I'm still a little nervous to announce it to the world, but I feel much more well-rounded now.
But baby, why? You were so excited. We were out at this event space and rented a helium machine. I made a cake.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. It's not you. You are amazing. I think perhaps even though I'm excited to be Circle, I'm grieving the loss of Sam?
Interesting. I felt similar after I got sober. When the cotton candy period of my fresh sobriety wore off, I was left with some serious feelings of depression.
I'm feeling some of that too. I really am excited to be a new me. Every time you say Circle, it makes me float.
Circle. 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 Okay, careful. If you get much higher, we'll be on our way back to Earth. And I have no interest in participating in Dartone Day this year.
Really? Dartone Day is usually one of your favorite holidays.
If I was ever gonna relapse, it would be on a Dartone Day. That's one of the most intoxicated days of the year in New Orleans. I would float across town, meeting up with stranger after stranger, growing weaker and weaker until I found myself back in liquid form, floating a shit canal. I've changed, Circle, and so have you. I'm proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself.
Change is scary. The fear of changing your name can be intense. But I'm starting to feel like moving forward through the scariness. Following the fear is the best way to get to more courageous ground.
You're only alien, baby. Every beginning is weird at first, then it gets easier. And you no longer have to be reminded of Sam's time in the Space Force. Sam is gone.
And I miss him a little bit. But not those assholes in the Space Force.
Fuck the Space Force!
You know what I'm thinking? Sam was all about Sam. Circle was all about us. Maybe instead of throwing a party, instead of making a dramatic appearance on Dartone Day, maybe instead we just go home. Snuggle up together and watch some Weird at Night safely from Planet Circle.
Yeah! Let's stay! Circle.
Look, I won't lie, I won't lie, I won't lie. It's only my mind that I trust to be true to me. Faith in the face of your chase, to be free from all of it. Won't keep me warm when I need to be. Please, can you see that I'm bleeding out? Or is this a prize I win for first place? Talking and stalking and screaming out loud, I just want you to wanna be saved. Oh, how I wish that I'd never seen your face. Breaks me up, 'cause all I can see is a world disappearing in dreams. All I can see is a world disappearing in dreams. Moves in the dark, in the dark, in the dark. There can't be a shadow of doubt that I know nothing. Trust was a gun that we fired. Now we're on the run from the past, like it's got something new to say. Please, can't you see that I'm bleeding out? Can't you see I want much more than this dream? Say what you want, I can tell you right now. I won't fade, I won't flee from the scene. Oh, how I wish that I'd never seen your face. Breaks me up. 'Cause all I can see is a world disappearing in dreams. All I can see is a world disappearing in dreams. All I can see is a world disappearing in dreams. Oh, all I can see is a world disappearing in dreams. Yeah, in dreams. That is a song called Drug Buddies that I wrote quite some time ago, about 15 years ago. Wow, that is crazy to think of. But yeah, I played that in a band that I had years ago called Death by Stars. And I want to re-record it at some point because I really like that tune. Just had some friends hit me up, actually. Some friends of mine in Los Angeles, who want to cover that song, which is always really cool when you hear someone else do something that you made a little differently and put their own take on it. But thank you all very much. I think you all know what time it is. Oh yeah, baby, it is time to get real intimate. It is time to get real sexy, because it is time for the auto write. And I think everybody here tonight kind of knows how this works. I'm going to count back from 10. And as I do, you just try to clear your mind. When I get to 1, I'm going to say go. When I say go, we all start tippity typing whatever comes into our minds. Anything at all. Doesn't need to be filtered, doesn't need to be spell corrected, doesn't need to be edited. And then after about 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute, I'll say stop. We all hit enter return. Everybody's auto write shows up in the chat, and we proceed from there. Yes, friends. Yes. And I want to say, let me read some comments that people made while I was playing there. Sexual Corn says, maybe I'm just accustomed to writing a shitload. Sexual Corn, I don't know how old you are, but I did not grow up with texting. And I've never liked it. I've never really liked the medium of texting on a teeny tiny keyboard with my big fat thumbs. It's just, I don't know. I'm just a grump about it. But to each their own, whatever. It all works. Dartone the Third says, how do you warm up? I just hum and smoke cigarettes. You know, what's actually interesting, I don't know how many of you are singers, but I have known some extremely talented singers. I a singer of some kind. And the warm up that I see most people do these days is really simple. It's just and you go up and you go down and you go up and you go down and you do that for like 2 minutes, and it just kind of trains your body to use your diaphragm when you're singing. It is incredibly effective. I can sing on a stage with very little prep and not be very warmed up at all, and it works like a charm. It is absolutely incredible, and it's ridiculous, but if you're in a green room or whatever before a gig, you'll see a ton of people doing it, and it really does work. It really makes it easier. Smoking will not make it easier to sing. I can say that with authority, because as a far too long smoker, it never ever made it easier to sing. I will say that. All right, so I've gotten completely off topic. We're doing the auto write. I'm gonna start counting back from 10. You all try to clear your mind. I get to 1, I'll say go. We all start tippity typing. Whatever comes into our minds for about 30 or 45 seconds. Then I'll say stop. We all hit enter return. Everybody's auto write shows up in the chats. We get the hell out of here. We'll go raid somebody and do something fun. If you guys have a raid suggestion, let me know. All right, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go! Start typing. All right, and stop. Go ahead and enter return on your keyboards. Let's see these babies show up here. Okay. I'm going to read mine while I wait for yours to come in. In the grand scheme of schematics, I am a traumatic rhyme of ziggle diggles and jiggly dots. I don't know the Morse code of forgiveness, but if I did, I'd give it to myself, the elf on a shelf, with good health but no wealth. Look at how clever I am, scrum-diddly-umptious man, with a snow white tan and a howlin' Dan. Okay, we should probably stop soon, but before we do, I say thank you to the Easter Rabbit. Thank you, little chocolate friend. Matty O'Shea, it's 1:58 a.m. on my Casio now, on a beer number I lost count. What to type, what to say, I have no words. At least I was chatty in chat. I can say that, now what? I guess I'll try and write some shit offline. Hey Fred, that's a great auto write as far as I'm concerned. Whatever is going through your head, that's what we mean when we say whatever's in your mind. Go ahead and go for it. Great auto write. Dartone III, I have never been arrested for a crime I committed, but I have been arrested a lot. I have been arrested for so many random things. It's not all bad. I fucked all their wives and a few of their husbands. Don't judge me. I didn't know they were married. Wow, Dartone. Wow. Sexual corn. Tabula rasa, an odd idea that crops up again and again, and every time it results in the same broken people that emerged before them. Plato, I think. Clean slate, meaning you wipe the person and write it as you see fit. The result is a mangled mess of a person. Turns out each time society discovers there are far too many interwoven mechanisms and tearing pieces out, leaves a knotted strand of rational, and the group that caused it is now tasked with managing it. And how they do that is make it else Back in the Renaissance era, institutionalization was attempted with natural scientists. Hysterical, wandering uterus, black bile were the labeled maladies, and they wanted to observe, take note, then systematically tear down a person. More recently, lobotomy, chemical, behaviorally, isolation chambers as punishment. In sense, limited environs. The same broken people. The military does this to some extent to break people. Most recently, it is the troubled teen industry. And then Sexual Corn follows that with, odd crap has been on my mind. Great stuff, everyone. Big or small, I love getting together with you all. I love this crew. I love doing these auto writes, exploring creativity together. Thank you all so much for joining me on Tuesdays. It's a little more subdued, a little more laid back on Find Your Weird, and we're going to keep it that way. We have a big episode coming up this Saturday. As I said, we will be incorporating the auto writes. If you want us to check in with you before we use yours, I absolutely understand, and we absolutely will do that. Thank you all for contributing to tonight's festivities. Until Saturday, I will see you soon. I'm Patrick Galactic. We're Weird at Night. Thank you.